5 Keywords That Can Make You Wealthy by Jim Rohn. All the ideas in this book stem from a group of keywords. 2. Understand this book, therefore, and to receive maximum value from its contents, it is essential that we reach agreement on the meaning of each one. Fundamentals. First, let's take a look at the word fundamentals. I define fundamentals as those basic principles on which all accomplishment is built. Fundamentals form the beginning, the basis, and the reality from which everything else flows. It's a contradiction of terms to talk about new fundamentals. That's like someone claiming to have manufactured new antiques. One would be suspicious, right? No. Fundamental principles belong to the ages. They have been the same from biblical times and will continue to remain so until the end of time. Let's use the word fundamentals and apply it to the concept of success. If you are looking for fundamental success, the kind of success that lasts, that is, built on a solid foundation, then you should avoid exotic answers. And believe me, there are lots of exotic answers being offered these days, especially in Southern California where I live. So in spite of rumors to the contrary, success is a simple process. It doesn't fall out of the sky. It is neither magical nor mysterious. Success is no more than the natural consequence of consistently applying the fundamentals of success to life. The same is true of happiness and wealth. They, too, are no more than the natural consequence of consistently applying the fundamentals of happiness and wealth to life. The key is to stick to the fundamentals. A half dozen things Mr. Schoaf, my mentor, said to me one day, Jim, there are always a half dozen things that make 80% of the difference. A half dozen things, what a key thought. Whether we are working to improve our health, wealth, personal achievement, or professional enterprise, the difference between triumphant success or bitter failure lies in the degree of our commitment to seek out, study, and apply those half dozen things. For example, for a farmer to reap a plentiful harvest in the fall, the half dozen basics he must concentrate on are fairly obvious: soil, seed, water, sunshine, nourishment, and care. Each component is of equal importance, because only together do they bring to fruition a successful harvest. Thus, a good question to ask before undertaking any new project or setting new objectives is this: what are the half dozen things that will make the most difference to the outcome? Whether the enterprise is in the fine arts or in music, mathematics or physics, sports or business, it's that half dozen fundamentals that count. The understanding and application of this simple principle is the first intelligent step toward accomplishing your dreams and objectives.
Wealth. The second key word to define is wealth. Wealth is a controversial word because it brings to mind a wide variety of images and sometimes conflicting concepts. After all, each of us views wealth from a different perspective. To one person, wealth may mean having enough money to do whatever he or she wishes. 2. Another, it may mean freedom from debt, freedom from the constant claim of obligation. To yet another, it may mean the opportunity to grow and to achieve. But out of this diversity comes creativity, and creativity can help each of us find unique ways to work for a life of abundance. To the majority who probably haven't spent too much time thinking about the subject, wealth is simply symbolized by one word: millionaire. Now there's an exciting word. It rings of success, freedom, power, influence, pleasure, possibility, and benevolence. Surely, being a millionaire is not a bad mental image to hold. Likewise, the word wealth embodies more than economic concepts. One can talk of the wealth of experience, the wealth of friendship, the wealth of love, the wealth of family, and the wealth of culture. However, for our purposes here, we shall focus on the kind of wealth that brings with it financial freedom, wealth that comes from the conversion of effort and enterprise into currency and equity. For each of us, the specific amount required for us to feel wealthy will differ. Yet I'm sure that our basic dream is the same: to be free of financial pressures, to have freedom of choice, and to enjoy the opportunity to create and to share. What does wealth mean to you? How much money will it take for you to feel financially free? These are not idle questions. As you'll soon see, the more clearly defined your concepts about material wealth are, the more useful the ideas in this book will be to you. Happiness. Happiness embraces the universal quest. It's a joy that usually accompanies positive activity. Like wealth, however, it, too, has a variety of often contradictory meanings. It's both the joy of discovery and the joy of knowing. It often accompanies those who are fully aware of the colors, sounds, and harmony of life. And it's the joy that comes to those who painstakingly design their lives and then live them with artistry. Happiness is the skill of reacting to the offerings of life by perception and by enjoyment. It's achieved by both giving and receiving, reaping and bestowing. It's being able to feast on harmony, as well as food, on ideas as well as bread. Happiness comes to those who deliberately expand their horizons and experiences. It resides in the houses of those who have the ability to handle disappointment without losing their sense of well-being. It belongs to those who are in control of both their circumstances and their emotions. Happiness is also the freedom from the negative children of fear, such as worry, low self-esteem, envy, greed, resentment, prejudice, and hatred. Those who experience happiness often have a grasp on and an awareness of the tremendously positive power of life and love. But happiness is more than a general feeling. It is also a method of thinking that organizes feelings, activities, and lifestyle. In other words, it's a way of interpreting the world and its events. Happiness is having values in balance. It's contentment with daily tasks, including those unpleasant chores from which few of us are free. Happiness is a life well lived and filled with people of substance. It's a wide variety of experiences and memories that become priceless. Forms of currency to spend and to invest. Happiness is activity with purpose. It's love in practice. It's both a grasp of the obvious and an awe of the mysterious. Yet most of us think of happiness as something either lost in the past or a peak to be arrived at in some distant future. I'll be happy as soon as. Few understand that happiness can only be experienced in the now. And, yes, like all good things, happiness is often elusive. But I promise you that it is not impossible to capture. So how does one latch onto the bluebird of happiness? Curiously, by understanding and applying a concept which is rarely associated with happiness: discipline.
Discipline. If there is one critical ingredient for your successful quest for both wealth and happiness, it is discipline. And yet when it comes to this concept, most people reject it as they conjure images of everything from a tough drill sergeant to a strict schoolteacher waving a ruler. Yet I assure you that the acquisition of discipline holds the key to your dreams and aspirations. Surprised? Then perhaps we should take a moment to define what is meant by discipline. Discipline is the bridge between thought and accomplishment, the glue that binds inspiration to achievement, the magic that turns financial necessity into the creation of an inspired work of art. Discipline comes to those with the awareness that for a kite to fly, it must rise against the wind, that all good things are achieved by those who are willing to swim upstream, that drifting aimlessly through life only leads to bitterness and disappointment. Discipline is the foundation on which all success is built. Lack of discipline inevitably leads to failure. Yet, curiously, many do not associate lack of discipline with lack of success. Most people envision failure as one earth-shattering event, such as a company going bankrupt or a house being repossessed. This, however, is not how failure happens. Failure is rarely the result of some isolated event. Rather, it is a consequence of a long list of accumulated little failures which happen as a result of too little discipline. Failure occurs each time we fail to think today, act today, care, strive, climb, learn, or just keep going today. If your goal requires that today you write 10 letters and you write only 3, you are behind by 7 letters today. If you commit yourself to making 5 phone calls and you make only 1, you are behind by 4 phone calls today. If your financial plan requires that you save $10 and you save none, you are behind $10 today. The danger comes when we look at a day squandered and conclude that no harm has been done. After all, it was just one day. But add up these days to make a year, and then add up these years to make a lifetime, and perhaps you can now see how repeating today's small Failures can easily turn your life into a major disaster. Success follows exactly the same pattern, in reverse. If you plan to make 10 calls and you go beyond your quota to 15, you're ahead by 5 phone calls today. Do the same with your correspondence and your savings plan, and soon you'll see the accumulated fruits of your diligence over a year and eventually, over a lifetime. Discipline is the master key. It unlocks the door to wealth and happiness, culture and sophistication, high self-esteem and high accomplishment, and the accompanying feelings of pride, satisfaction, and success. What does it take to acquire discipline? First, it requires that you develop an awareness of the importance of discipline in your life. Start by asking yourself, what do I want to accomplish in my life? What changes do I need to make in order to attain my goals? Second, ask yourself honestly, am I willing to do what it takes? If you answer yes, then you need to make a long-term commitment to maintain your discipline wisely, deliberately, consistently. Finally, your commitment will be tested when circumstances emerge that could interfere with your commitment to your new discipline. When you will have to perform, come rain or come shine. Certainly, discipline will do much for you. But of even greater importance is what it will do to you. It will make you feel terrific about yourself. Even the smallest discipline can have an incredible effect on your attitude and the good feeling you get, that surging feeling of self-worth which comes from starting a new discipline, is almost as good as the feeling which comes from the accomplishment of the discipline. A new discipline immediately changes the direction of your life, like a ship turning in mid-ocean and heading toward a new destination. There are those who believe that discipline is unnatural, that just being is enough. They consider the need to accomplish to be a neurotic, man-made exercise. But the fact is that discipline cooperates with nature, where everything strives. How tall will a tree grow? It fights the powerful force of gravity and keeps reaching toward sunlight to become as tall as it can be. True. This striving by a tree is not a conscious act. Trees don't have brains. But you and I have been given the ability to consciously choose to strive and to become all that we can be. Discipline attracts opportunity. Exciting opportunities invariably come to those who have developed skills and who have the ambition to act, and those who through discipline and commitment set their sights high will grab onto opportunities that forever remain unseen by more timid souls. Discipline is that unique process of intelligent thought and activity that puts a lid on temper and a faucet on courtesy, that develops positive action and controls negative thoughts, that encourages success and refuses to accept failure, that promotes health and curbs sickness. Anyone can begin the process of being disciplined. You can do it by degrees, one step at a time. The exciting news is, you can start today. Don't say, if I could, I would. Say instead, if I would, I could. If I will, I can. So start the new process and start small. And then learn to stick with your new commitment. Out of this seemingly unimportant beginning, you'll learn how it feels to be disciplined. And from there, the sky's the limit.
Action versus self-delusion. In recent years there has been a number of books that promote the idea that if one verbally affirms what one wants on a daily basis, success will magically emerge. I'm completely opposed to this mode of thinking. In my experience, affirmations without the discipline to act upon those things which are affirmed cause men and women to delude themselves into thinking they're making progress when, in fact, their daily activity leads them nowhere. Why do people say one thing and then act in direct contradiction to their affirmations? The man who dreams of wealth and yet walks daily toward certain financial disaster, and the woman who wishes for happiness and yet thinks thoughts and commits acts that lead her toward certain despair, are both victims of the false hope which affirmations tend to manufacture. Why? Because words soothe and, like a narcotic, they lull us into a state of complacency. Remember this, to make progress you must actually get started. So, to have a prosperous life, start a prosperity plan. To become wealthy, develop a wealthy plan. Remember, you don't have to be wealthy to have a wealth plan. A person without any means can have a becoming rich plan. There are so many other types of plans which you can create. If you are ill, start a health plan. Do you feel tired all the time? Then start an energy plan. Feel a bit undereducated? That's right. Start an education plan. You say you can't? Then start. And I can plan. Anyone can. Even a bad person can start reading good books. The key is to take a step today. Whatever the project, start today. Start clearing out a drawer of your newly organized desk today. Start setting your first goal today. Start listening to motivational cassettes today. Start a sensible weight reduction plan today. Start calling on one tough customer a day today. Start putting money in your new investment for fortune account today. Write a long overdue letter today. What the heck? Get some momentum going on your new commitment for the good life. See how many activities you can pile on your new commitment to the better life. Go all out. Break away from the downward pull of gravity. Start your thrusters going. Prove to yourself that the waiting is over and the hoping is past, that faith and action have now taken charge. It's a new day, a new beginning for your new life. With discipline, you will be amazed at how much progress you'll be able to make. What have you got to lose except the guilt and fear of the past? Now, I offer you the next challenge. Make this the first day of your new beginning, a part of the week of new beginnings. Go ahead, see how many things you can start and continue in this your week of new beginnings. Then, make this the month of new beginnings, and then the year of new beginnings. By the time you've completed your first year, you'll never again be claimed by the past habits, past influences, past regrets, past failures. As the Bible says, you'll now be ready to fly with the eagles.
Success. Success is the fifth keyword. And, like each of the concepts already discussed, it has multiple layers of meaning. Success is also an elusive notion. A paradox. After all, it is both a journey and a destination, isn't it? It's the steady, measured progress toward a goal and the achievement of a goal. Success is both an accomplishment and a wisdom that comes to those who understand the potential power of life. It's an awareness of value and the cultivation of worthwhile values through discipline. It's both material and spiritual, practical and mystical. Success is a process of turning away from something in order to turn toward something better. From lethargy to exercise, from candy to fruit, from spending to investing. Success is responding to an invitation to change, to grow, to develop, and to become, an invitation to move up to a better place in order to gain a better vantage point. But most of all, success is making your life what you want it to be. Considering all the possibilities. Considering all the examples of others whose lives you admire. What do you want from your life? That is the big question. Remember, success is not a set of standards from our culture but rather a collection of personal values clearly defined and ultimately achieved. Making your life what you want it to be for you is a success. But how does one go about doing that? That's precisely what this book is about.